providing public access to the meeting by telephone, with additional access possibilities by video or other electronic means. We are using both YouTube and Zoom for this electronic meeting. All members of the board have the ability to communicate contemporaneously during this meeting through this platform, and the public has access to contemporaneously listen and, if necessary, participate in this meeting through dialing the following phone number, 603-236-4730, or by clicking on the following website address, www.watervillevalley.org, by texting to 603-254-6708, or by using the chat box in Zoom. And B, we are providing public notice of the necessary information for accessing the meeting. We previously gave notice to the public of the necessary information for accessing the meeting, including how to access the meeting using Zoom or telephonically. Instructions have also been provided on the website of the town at www.watervillevalley.org. C, we are providing a mechanism for the public to alert the public body during the meeting if there are problems with access. If anybody has a problem, please call 603-236-4730 or email townofwv@watervillevalley.org. And D, we are adjourning the meeting if the public is unable to access the meeting. In the event the public is unable to access the meeting will be adjourned and rescheduled. Please note that all votes that are taken during this meeting shall be done by roll call vote. Let's start the meeting by taking roll call attendance. When each member states their presence, please also state whether there is anyone in the room with you during this meeting, which is required under the right to know law. This is Margaret Turner, Chair of the Board of Selectmen, and I am alone.
Rich Rita, everybody. I am alone.
Mike Aronson alone.
Okay. So this is a workshop meeting in which we want to hear a little bit about what Brooke is thinking of for rec department plans for the future. Take it away, Brooke.
Okay, well, for this year, we are planning a basically normal summer of camp. We're hoping to get all of our events and activities back going this summer, including our 4th of July carnival, our race, our Yugata Regatta, our fishing derby, all the major events that we normally do, Easter, egg hunt. And then of course, during the summer, our time will be taken up with camps. We will be doing summit camp again, as well as doing 2 of our 9 and 10-year-old groups and adding back in the 5 and 6. So right now we're really trying to strategize about space in the building and how we can accommodate all those different groups. So that will be a growth for our camp group. In terms of new sort of initiatives, we are excited to promote both the patch programs, the Redliner and the Pathfinder patch. There's a National Trails Day in the beginning of June that we're hoping to do some sort of event for, where we can promote our patch programs and the hiking in general in Waterville Valley. We are working with the AIA to do the history hike walks. We'll continue doing that again this year. We're trying to just be outside doing, as much programming as we can. There are a couple of things that I've been talking with people in the Valley about. One is a sort of a hike challenge that they were familiar with in a different state, where you can sort of present a puzzle to figure out a sort of a 1 to 2 day challenge. So it would create the need to come stay overnight in the Valley. And it's sort of a puzzle that you figure out with some clues that you're given. So you pay like a fee to get these clues and figure out the challenge. And there's other, parts of this that I'm still learning about, which we would hope to present for this year, which I think could be really promising. The person that I talked to about it is Jim over at the Black Bear Lodge. He was the one that had heard about this, and there's a link where an active program like this is happening in Vermont, which looks really cool. So that's one of the bigger projects on our plate that we're looking at doing for this year. What else can I tell you? We are really excited about having the building open for just a few programs over February vacation week. But we're really hopeful that we can get that open for the summer in the evenings. However, one problem is that our budget is considerably down this year, I think 20% for the rec department. And, because of, we're sort of modeling it after last year. And that means that a lot of the staffing and different things that we were doing might not be possible, even if COVID is no longer an issue in the summer. So that's the one thing that I'm kind of struggling with at this point. But I think there's a lot that we could run for, outside and with this hiking challenge if we don't, really want to increase that budget.
So, Brooke, are you assuming that we're not going to be masking and social distancing and all of that kind of thing during the summer program?
No, we're definitely going to be masking during our camp programming. The kids are now much more adjusted to that because they've gone through a school year, especially in this area where they're used to wearing masks. So we're not going to be changing that, and our focus is going to be outside. We're just trying to figure out how we can integrate more programming outside of camp that, so for masking, we don't know. We're hoping that by summer, it may be relaxed a little bit, but we're planning on running our camps, with the COVID restrictions.
Okay.
In terms of opening the building, there's a considerable revenue that the rec department earns, and also just goodwill in the community to have the open gym and the basketball, all those things happening within the rec department is offering people things to do. But I don't think we're really ready to open that up yet. I think that's gonna, probably, my guess would be after summer, possibly in the evenings for some programming. Maybe some more outdoor programming. One of the outdoor programs that we've sort of been talking about is, how we do the ice cream socials, and those have always been so popular. We're thinking about maybe doing like buying a shave ice machine and doing shave ice, in Packard, maybe bringing Paws on Packard back this summer once a week for, dog lovers. And we're just trying to think of how we can be outside more.
Okay. Everybody is looking very thoughtful.
I guess it's hard to plan all of this without a lot of security about what the situation is going to be with COVID and vaccines and all of that.
All right.
My thought is go with what we had last year, keep the budget the same. Anything you can come in and try to do has to be revenue neutral or positive. We just can't afford to take on any more loss. If it means some people working harder, some different hours, moving people around, try with that, because nothing is fixed. The way I hear about these mutations of viruses and everything else is we might have a great false start, or I just don't even have a clue.
Yeah, well, that's a difficulty.
So that's why I would say stay with what we've done and what we know and what we can do.
Brooke, remind me, is there a plan to test all the staff every day, or?
All we have in place right now, and this doesn't mean it can't change, but right now we're just planning on doing what we did last summer, taking temperatures, answering the 5 questions for all staff and all, people doing our programs. We're still doing that. We still have programs running, and we're still doing that when people do that, our programs. So that would continue, but I don't know if we'll have the ability to, obviously the vaccine's not approved yet for the kids, but I think we'll just have to do what we did last year. I don't know how effective that is, but that's what we have to do.
And will we continue to have restrictions on who can participate in the camps? They have to be New Hampshire residents?
Well, we haven't had that before. We've opened it to pretty much anyone, but one thing I wanted to talk to you all about today was, because the school has grown and because our community has grown, our camps are more competitive than ever. So last year we reduced the camp group size to 8. So that was practically cutting it in half. And this summer, we're going to move the groups. We're going to add more groups, and we're going to up it to 12 people per group, because we feel that we can still maintain that safety with 12, and we can move around on our own buses with 12, per group. So we wanted to keep that going. Now, I was on the PTA meeting the other night with Waterville Valley Elementary School, and they all expressed a desire to have our camp spots open up to them, all right, the elementary school kids, and I think taxpayers of Waterville Valley in general, for early registration, just a 24-hour difference where they would have the opportunity to get those spots before they're put out to the general public. And I wanted to see how a lot of towns do that, but I just wanted.
I agree with that. I think definitely.
Okay.
Because we're absorbing the hit and the loss
True.
on running these programs. So our taxpayers deserve, I would even make it more than a 24-hour period.
Okay.
But Brooke, if people are coming in from other states, do they still have that requirement to isolate when they get here before they go to camp and not return to those states during the camp period?
I understand now, Margaret. Yes, we still will have that sort of quarantine in place. Now, maybe that quarantine will be reduced. I think it was 14 days for last summer, and perhaps it would, be updated with the CDC. I think is now either 7 or 10 days. So perhaps there would be an update, but I do think we should, keep that into effect.
Yeah, they may update the camp directions overall from DHHS before the summer.
Mm-hmm. Right. I mean, we just have to be able to work with whatever is thrown at us. I mean, that's the hard part about planning, but I can only imagine it's going to relax a little, but that's just a guess.
Yeah, there's so many people now talking about the fact that there's no reason schools can't be open because there isn't, schools are not super spreaders. So who knows?
Yes.
Who knows? Rich, what do you have to say?
No, I like everything that that Brooke is saying. I would suggest that perhaps you want to approach it in terms of options, if you would. Plan A is this, and have that detailed out, and then a plan B or even a plan C, depending upon which way things go. Plan B is more of a lockdown. Plan C may be more open, so that you can move quickly or more quickly once you get a sense of where things stand. And I guess we're talking like mid-June, roughly, starting in mid-June.
Yeah.
So that would be my first top of the head comment.
So when I love that idea, and I think just as responsible, administrators of our programs, we always have to be ready for that kind of stuff. But I do think that financially we could be bound a little bit, but for our plans. Once we decide what the budget's going to be for the rec department, we obviously can only move within what that allows. I won't be able to. Say it's like, oh, everyone's good. We can all take off our masks and run around and hug each other. We're not going to all of a sudden have all this extra money to throw at, staffing and events and whatnot. So in a way, we have to make a, decision about how we're going to approach the year. I know that revenue can be adjusted, but in terms of expenses, we have to sort of decide. And we did cut 20%.
Right, but if you look at what I said before, if you can create things as a manager that are revenue positive or revenue neutral, you can go ahead without really affecting your budget. If you go into things where you're going to lose money, you shouldn't be able to do that.
Of course.
So what I would think, because we are still very uncertain about what the future is, let's go with the safety of what we know and gradually make adaptations to things we're talking about. I would say if we wanted to appease the townspeople and the school population, open up the registration very early this year so what the demand is. Because if the demand is there, then you'll figure out how many dollars you'll have coming in and you have more dollars to spend.
Yeah.
Because if it comes in a different way, we'll have to look at it a different way. But I think if we just go, we did a great job last year. You guys did wonderful. There were no real complaints in town about it, from anybody on any sides. Stick with what you know, because we just don't know the other side of any of this stuff. But the earlier the townspeople know what your plan is, the better it's going to be, the more well received, and the more ability we'll have to adapt.
Yeah. Sorry, Mark, we can't quite hear you very well.
Can you guys hear us?
I can hear you, Sharon, but when Mark talks, it's just a little muffled.
Okay, we're having internet issues here, so our speeds are really bad. So
Hmm.
in one camera right now, so.
Can you try going out and coming back in?
I'm sorry.
Can you try leaving the room and going back in and out of a room? I've had that work for me on some of these.
Not Zoom. It's not Zoom. It's our internet connection here at Town Hall. We've been having problems for a couple of weeks now. The issue that I have, Mike, on what you say is we have reduced the rec budget to the point where our ability to increase program regulations change. And as it is, we probably
You're
about
freezing.
right.
Can't hear you.
How about now?
Yeah.
No.
It just keeps freezing in and out.
Yeah, it's
Okay.
been doing it the whole time. I'm sorry. We have.
Maybe if you turn off your video.
Let me turn up the video for us.
Talk.
And
How about now?
We
Can
can
you
hear
hear me
you.
now?
Yes.
Yep.
Okay. Quickly before we die again, the issue is that we don't have any flexibility given the reduction that we've made in the rec budget. So we can't add programming during the summer if the regulations, given the way that we have structured the budget now. We already know that we probably should add another to the summer, right, Brooke?
Another group, camp group?
Another eight, right? You're feeling like you're gonna get more demand for that middle age group, which means that we'd have to add money in the budget. We could add some revenue to offset it without adding additional. He won't be able to hire more people or change our.
Well, I would,
regulations get really.
you sort of went in and out there, but I just want to clarify that, yes, we do think that we should add one more camp group, which would add 2 more full-time summer staff. So just for 8 weeks of summer staff, but it would also add to the revenue line. It would offset. So
Does it
would
create a profit or is it just is it an offset?
it creates a profit, but of course, you know, that group size, let me just give you an example. In order for me to figure this out, you know, our group size is 10 people, but I'm not going to, of course, count 10 people on the revenue. I'm going to count 7. So if 7 people per week sign up and then we hire 2 staff, it would be approximately a $9,000 revenue increase and a $6,000 expense increase. So yes, there is a profit there, but you know, right now our main concern is finding the space to do that, which I believe we can find a solution to that by being creative in the rec department of where groups are, especially now that we're spending more time outside and we'll have that tent on Packard. I think we can figure it out. However, that would be adding to what the existing budget that I presented.
Right, but you're adding the revenue to it. So I
But
don't
you're
see
adding
that
the
as being a
revenue
problem.
too. That's the point that Mike has been making all along. We recognize that maybe the budget as it exists is limiting. So if the budget is going to change in terms of there's going to be more expense, if you have a way to make a profit when you have more expense, I would say go for it.
I'm not even talking a profit. I'm talking about being revenue and cost neutral.
Neutral.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
and you know, if something comes up, you know, say you don't fill these slots. Maybe you don't hire these couple of kids. Maybe you have to say, like a restaurant on a quiet night to, I'm sorry, there's no work for you. We can't do this. You know, that's just a fact of where we are.
Well, fortunately for us, we generally are full, our camp is full.
Oh, no,
Prior
I'm
to
saying
starting,
that.
so we could actually tell those people that, because I would feel badly if we put, these part-timers on kind of a summer contract, because we really have to get them locked in for those weeks, or else we're just,
Yeah, but if
in
it's
trouble.
raining and your kids go to the boats to work, you don't pay them for the day it rains, does it? Do you?
No,
No, you've got to remember, it's
yeah.
the way of the world.
I think the idea of getting signups early would be a good indicator of where you might have to go in terms of added staff, yes?
Definitely. And we've been opening registration around March 15th, right after town meeting for the last 4 years. And every summer we're full in a lot of the groups prior to camp even starting. So that does give us that flexibility. Now, just sort of saying, oh, let's just open these all up and see how many we get and then staff it. Well, obviously we can't meet that. I don't think we'd be able to meet the need. There would be too many kids.
No, I think you have a space constraint that you've talked about. So
Yeah.
what I would do is I would get, as we're talking about after the town vote meeting on the 11th or 9th, at these times, let people in town know that that's what we're doing this year. We are due to the increase in population in town. We are opening up the camp positions for town residents only from this day to this day. If you want in, you've got to do it this day. And we're sorry if you don't get in, you might not get in.
Yeah, this is a brand new thing. I just want you to know, because we've never had the need to do this.
Well, I think we're going to see that, and we have to make the decision whether it's going to be residents or property owners, or both. Are we setting 2 classes, or do we make it up to?
Thing that I would say about that is that there's a lot of grandparents in town who are property owners. So are we going to include grandparents who are signing up their grandchildren? And if we are, that's great. I mean, maybe we just say taxpayers and they're the ones who call and sign up, then that's fine.
But then you have the other side of the coin. You can't use taxpayers. You might have someone who's renting in the school.
Right. Yes. I'm sorry. Yeah.
Now, I would make it residents right? And property owners.
Can you use the native ID system as a screen?
Oh, that's what we do. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that's what we do. We're totally capable of that. I mean, we're set up that way out of many hard years of work, getting that established.
People can be, they can have their native ID, but some people have to pay for it, right?
And yep. And we have different memberships. So it will tell us if they are paying for their membership or if they're getting it through being a tax owner, a property owner.
Okay.
So we are able to distinguish between those two.
Brooke, do you anticipate if we just limited it to residents, do you anticipate that you're not going to be able to meet the demand?
I think if we limited it to just residents, it's hard to say. I mean, we've gone through and we've counted just based on who has been coming for the last few years, and we're already, basically full in all our groups. I mean, just with the people that we expect to come back. Of course, a few of those are regional people. Some of those are people that work at the mountain and their children come to our camps. So they maybe reside in Thornton or Campton or something like that. I do think that it's good to offer the spaces to the elementary school kids, especially in this type of year of growth first. I mean, I do think that's a good idea. I just hope that we can get the kids in that have been coming to us for, years and years. And just to let you know, we've been getting calls for the last month and a half about when does camp open? What day do registration open? Is there going to be room this year? Last year we weren't able to get in. Can we get in this year? I mean, there's a lot of desire to get into our camps. So we just predict that it's going to be full again. Fortunately, we're opening it up to, more spaces this year. So I'm hopeful that we can, get a lot more people, serviced with our camps.
Well, if we have a 3-tier sign-up system, starting first with residents, and then second, say taxpayers or property owners, and third, all others, and you open it up early, I think you get a quick idea, right, of what you need in terms of staff for camps.
Yeah, we
before you
can.
make any decision where the cutoff would be.
We could. I mean, that's a little more complicated. And one other factor to consider is opening up camps for registration early is a good idea because it helps in planning. We've had usually town budget approved by then. But one problem that it could cause is that because it's so early, people could just go sign up, pay, and then following our cancellation policy, they can still get an opportunity to bow out, prior to summer without penalty. So they're,
Except,
you
I
don't
think
want to
you're gonna-
open it up too early.
I think you're going to deal with the reverse of that. I think you're going to have a waiting list of people from the region who will take the people who opt out. I think you'll have probably 3 people waiting for every person that doesn't show up.
Yeah.
And I had to take a quick call, and I just wanted to stress something where you talked about making it open to residents only. I think it really needs to be residents and property owners because they're all taxpayers, and we can't create that 2 classes of people and get through that hassle and put brick in the middle of someone who, the person with the grandchildren or the person who knows they're here for the summer, but they're not residents and the kid's been in the camp forever and couldn't get their kid in camp because they didn't meet the guideline. That's going to be a nightmare for Brooke and her staff if we create the 2 classes of people.
Yeah.
So you'd have a 2-tier system, Mike?
No, property owners and residents are the first. They're in at the same time.
I mean, that's the first tier, and then
The
all
first tier
others.
is the public.
Right.
Because then you've got the people who maybe work at the mountain, their kids aren't in town, but want to come here and be there. But we have to, because of the amount of money the rec costs the taxpayers, we have to set a preference for the people paying the taxes and paying for it.
Okay, so Mike, can I just ask a clarification question?
Sure.
What if a tax-paying grandparent called for their grandchild who's going to be up in Waterville Valley for the summer? Is that?
Yeah, I believe they I believe they qualify. I know the perfect example of that, and I know a few of those examples where the
Okay.
grandchildren are here for the summer and they're planning on it. And these are the people that have been paying taxes here forever, but they would have to have
So
a
does
native
that
ID.
mean that I have to? Does that mean that I need to make sure that the grandparent makes the reservation for the kid and pays for the kid, or does
Well,
that
wouldn't
mean
you-
that?
Wouldn't you assume
how
they'd
does
have the
that
native
work?
ID? Wouldn't you assume they'd have the native ID?
The grandparent?
Yeah.
Yes, but do I demand that the grandparent make the reservation and pay for the camp? Or do I say, oh, you're so-and-so's child making the reservation for their I mean, it gets complicated.
It does. So set up your rule before you start it, so you know what the guideline is. And if you explain it to someone, where you make a guideline where everyone can meet it, you don't make a guideline where they have to bring, the Eye of Newt and Wolfbane in with them or something. You just go, hey, listen, I'm going to hold the space for you, but your father's got to call and register because he's the property owner. And I think people are reasonable to that.
Okay, so just so you know, I'm just giving you information. The spots don't just wait for someone to call back. They go because I'm not the one always signing the person up. They're signing up online. So if people are battling, if you're trying to get the spots online and registering,
All right.
I mean,
you might have to,
it's a little complicated.
You might have to call someone back and ask for a clarification. Oh, I'm looking at this. It doesn't seem like it qualifies. Oh, I'm sorry. My parents own the unit, not me.
Yeah, I'll have to think about this because I don't even know if there's any sort of filter I can put on the online registration to say who. I'll have to look at it. If we can't do that, then we'll have to just do by phone registration for the residents and taxpayers.
Yeah, I'm sure with all the computer filters there might be some way to do it.
Yeah.
You're on mute.
Sorry, I was just talking to my daughter.
Oh,
And what's her opinion of the matter?
She'd like to get into the kitchen for a snack.
Oh, okay.
wouldn't we all?
Yeah. Too many times. Yeah, I mean,
Okay.
obviously the camps are the most important part of the rec program in the summer. I mean, that's what we're identified as in the summer,
Yes.
the camps. So
And I wanted to also express that, we're so busy in the summer with all of our staff. We are always looking at new events or activities that we can run and explore. But right in the summer, that period is like everyone is just really, really all out, very, very busy. So on the shoulder seasons, we're trying to figure out more things that we can do. We've been really successful with our after school programs. I mean, between the guided hikes and the after school hiking club and the online class and other speaking events, Eric is extremely busy with what he's doing. Sandra's putting on this 3-day after school program. She's now teaching Safe Sitter. So we're actually staying quite busy during this time where we're closed, where our building's not open. So I just want everyone to, especially the selectmen and the people of the community, to know that we are working really hard to accomplish what we can during this time, and it's turning out we're actually pretty busy doing that. So just wanted to let everyone know that our staff is not excess at this time.
Noted. Anything else?
So
Do you have what you need, Brooke, to go forward?
I feel as though I do. It sounds like Mark has a question.
I am going $1,000 to the,
You broke up, Mark.
Yeah.
I'll email you.
Okay.
I will email you.
It sounds like you're going to add
Because
some money to
I
the.
can't communicate. I'm going to add money to the budget and the revenue, and I will email you the specifics.
Okay.
Yep.
And we will work really hard on finding that space. I mean, this will be the first year that we'll kind of have to use the gym as one of our sort of transitioning spaces, which will be possible because in previous years before COVID, we were running programs open to the public, that would sort of weave in and out of using the gym for camps. But this year and last year, we did not do that. We have the gym closed during the day. So we are planning on adding that extra group, which we just don't have room for in the rest of the school. So anyway, I just wanted you to know that we will be sort of one more than able to be in there, plus Summit, which will just make them sit outside. I don't know.
Now, is the school doing anything in the gym or anything with the Ray Center in the building this summer?
Not that I'm aware of. I've been in touch with the Ray Center because we've been trying to problem solve this 5 to 6 year old group. Because I thought at first that Leah was going to be managing that group with her programs, but she's actually younger. She's 3 to 4 year olds is what she's hoping to do. So that's why it just came to our attention that we really need to address this. We feel like we can do it safely. And, I don't think the school's doing anything over there. Now, the school, I'm not sure about this summer, but in the last couple of summers, they've been doing a morning program from 8 to about 10 or 11. And those kids would sometimes be there first and then come to us. I'm not sure if they're planning on doing that again this year. I haven't heard from Gail about
I think they are. I think they are. They got a lot of rave reviews for it last year. Yeah.
Great.
Brooke, I'm sorry, go ahead, Margaret.
No, go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to shift focus a little bit. What about any sorts of activities with other town institutions, equities, businesses?
Like, for example?
Well, I was wondering about, well, that's the point. Are there other examples? I was thinking of some musical endeavors. We do Shakespeare in the mountain. I know, Margaret, you tried to get some highfalutin culture up here. And do we want to maybe perhaps try to revive or expand in those areas? Or at least coordinate. I mean, perhaps the word there is coordinate. Yeah.
Right. Well, we are open to, suggestions of what people would like to see. I am in communication with surrounding towns about, different possibilities and activities like Holderness, the recreation director there. She and I have been in touch about trying to do different things. There's nothing that's really presented itself besides this hiking challenge that I'm talking to you about that would take quite a bit of planning, but then once it was off the ground, not very much maintenance, which is a good thing. so yeah, we are open to different things like that. I mean, last summer, one of my goals was to bring music on Packard a couple of, or one night a week for maybe a 6-week period, but the musician got nervous about COVID, and we weren't all super comfortable. So we are exploring, like, how can we use our space better, and what kind of things can we bring to the Valley? So if there's something specific that you or anybody else you know has heard about or knows about, I'm totally open to learning more and trying to explore whether or not it's possible.
Yeah, I mean, I think we want to keep the focus on, the core responsibility, which will primarily be camps and hiking, I think, this summer. Yes.
Yes.
And then whatever adult programs that you can manage to get into the gym. I mean, I guess those would be the foci for the whole,
Yeah.
for the whole summer, at least moving into the fall. But I was wondering if there's anything beyond that, where not all the burden is on the town and on you as the department chief, the rec department chief, but is coordinated with others. For example, for a resort town, it would be nice to have an ice cream parlor in the summer up in Waterville Valley. And I don't know if anybody has plans to do that, but is it possible, for example, to bring in an ice cream truck, for example?
I like that idea.
I'm just trying to think out of the box and on my butt type of thing. The music I like, family type of activities. I think Mike had mentioned at one point prior to the meeting about perhaps we should be also looking at focusing for more senior citizens who will be, because they're likely to be vaccinated by this summer, we may see more of them coming to the Valley and willing to participate in activities.
Yes, and I could use some help, just sort of navigating what are the things that people want to do. That would be helpful to know. I still feel a little conflicted about having people in the building during the summer when we have camps but that is certainly a time that the space would be open. Mike, did you have any suggestions about targeting that population and what they might like to see?
I think, Mike, you had said wheelchair races. Was that
wheelchair races? Rejuvenating cream applications. No,
that's called hiking.
But no, I think we'll know sooner what's going on. Hopefully, this vaccine will start bringing the first people coming out are going to be our generation. The ones who've got the vaccine are going to see if it works and what they report on us. And I think we are the perfect place for those soft hikes. I remember sitting on my porch and watching those people come down and looking, they climbed that Snows Mountain and they feel accomplished. So I think a lot of more gentler things for an older group or families that can do things, grandparents with small children. I think your hiking programs are great for that. Mm-hmm. And I do share the same concerns with getting in that building because I don't know what kind of sanitation is needed going forward and as of today. And what if I would hate for us to miss it.
Yeah, definitely.
But no,
to your point, Mike, I've been in contact with this woman who have any of you heard of forest bathing before?
Forest dating or baiting?
Forest bathing.
Oh, bathing.
Oh,
yes.
Is that legal in New Hampshire?
Okay. Well, it's a very, it's really interesting. And it's sort of what you just talked about. It's just sort of a way to go out and appreciate the outdoors, but it's an actual thing. And I've been talking to someone who does it. And so I'm hopeful to add that this summer. So maybe that will fit into that exact, spot, Mike.
Yeah, no, I think you guys are doing a great job. It's just the safety thing, we just don't know. And we just want to really make these programs as much for the townspeople as possible so they know that we are paying attention to them.
Yeah. Okay. And Rich, to your point about getting together with different constituents to try to get something going here.
Yes, stakeholders.
Stakeholders, yes. The lodging, WVRA Lodging Committee invited the venues today to their meeting at 3. And so we'll be going there because they want to figure out what we can do, to add to not the people who live here, but the people who are visiting. What can we do to add to the Freedom Pass? Because I don't know how much you've been aware of it so far, but basically we're losing out on quite a bit of the resort fees because we're not having a lot of people stay here. And that's what feeds the funding for the Freedom Pass program in the summer, which we are a big part of and rely on that. So we're trying to figure out how we're going to recover that as an organization, but also what we can do to offer people as a part of the Freedom Pass. So, hopefully we're going to get more things going, like the lights. I mean, the Waterville Valley lights.
Can I give you my side of this very quickly?
Please.
As being an ex-officer of the Resort Association and very familiar with the matrix to the Freedom Pass, the Freedom Pass was going to hit this number. The matrix was going to be there because of the lack of the abundance of use in the summer and the lack of use in the winter balances it off. And this is the turning point, because you're not having that winter usage, winter money coming in that's not being used and sending out to venues. Having said that, I really think the Freedom Pass might be something that needs to be examined in a different way, because we are naturally getting guests here without these activities. We are having less and less units. I've been in both lodges in the last week and a half and spoken with the managers there. The amount of units they have for rent is significantly lower. So any number you're going to try to come up with for this new matrix to make this thing work and fun has got to take that into account, that you're not going to have the rooms to rent. So by saying that, a lot of the people coming here are not going to be looking for the Freedom Pass, add-on. They're going to be looking to come here to stay out, get out of the city, come out here and find a nice place to stay in nature and accept that for what it is. So I think the value of the Freedom Pass and that whole planning and attraction to the valley really needs to be looked at, because I don't think it has the validity that we had before COVID. I think this new arena, we are a spectacular place just standing on our own without giving anybody anything.
Yeah, it's definitely getting looked at, and there's a lot of different opinions. So I think we're definitely at a crossroads, trying to figure out what the future is and how we're going to deal with it. So I'll keep you informed of what happens. But I know that the venue is going to the lodging meeting that's a whole totally different take, which I haven't seen that before. So hopefully we can come to some conclusion.
Brooke, about plans to rent any town property such as the beach or Packard's Field?
We're always renting Packard Field. We did stop doing the beach
yeah.
fires,
Do we
like
want to
for
restart?
weddings and just whenever, but we do still rent out the beach, and we do have a couple of rentals on the books for this year, actually. So we do have, our facility rentals definitely went way down after we stopped doing the campfires, but we still do rent out the field. We rent out the beach. As soon as the building is open again safely, we can do we do the pickleball courts, outdoor ones. We did a couple of those last year. So we can still offer that service. Of course, now we have the tent set up we're going to have the tent set up again on Packard Field, but where the tent was, it really wasn't didn't take over too much of the field.
Mm-hmm.
So we can still rent out the field, and we had a group use the tent, actually. That group at the end of the summer use it. We didn't charge them, but the memorial service.
Yeah, I thought that we had suspended rentals on the beach in particular, but that was just because of COVID. But that was just for the wedding parties, correct?
It's just really the nature of what happens with the wedding parties at the fires. Right. It's not really, I don't think, something we would want to get behind on a regular basis.
Good place to have an ice cream social.
Yeah.
Or Packard Field outside.
The ice cream social is the piece I keep trying to figure out, because it was such a popular event. And I think it could be really fun at Packard Field. I just don't know if ice cream is the way to go unless it's prepackaged. I think maybe, like a shave ice machine, or I don't know, something like that. What do you think?
Stop buying things.
Hey, well, that's the other piece is there's an investment. Yeah.
Yeah.
And we're, you know, another piece while we're just kind of spitballing here is I'd like to do a kids like duathlon or something where just for the kids, you know, to like run and bike around Packard Field.
Exactly.
That'd be super fun for all the kids that run around here. They'd love that.
Mhm.
So anyway, we'll keep doing what we can.
Okay.
It's definitely making us think outside of the box.
Have you got a sense yet of what the other stakeholders are planning for their summer activities in Town Square, for example?
I don't. I mean, I presume that they'll continue with their music, you know, plans.
Well, it's all been cut back. I don't know if anybody knows what anyone's doing because we haven't got any guidance that we're clear of COVID yet.
Yeah, people are scared to plan because it I mean, the budgeting is frustrating. No one has a ton of money.
Yeah.
And then if you do, and you plan something and then it doesn't work out, I think it's really hard right now for people. We are going to be going back to boats. I'm hoping to bring that back for 6 days versus, you know, last year when we had it 3 or 4 days. So
Yeah, another face of the town. That's important.
yes,
Boats, yeah.
right. So staffing is sort of really important right now. Because we lost so many people last year because we didn't employ as many. So, you know, that kind of like, you know, works on itself, the momentum of having the staff every year. So
Yeah, but you've got a whole new whole new crowd to pull from. You've got all these new families with kids, so
Yeah.
you're gonna have an abundance of staff.
I hope so. We just have to make it fun for them, you know?
You're not gonna have to send people to ice cream parlors to Shanghai people and hit them over the head and throw them in a bag to come work at the boats.
Yeah. Well, I appreciate all your input, and I hope that whenever you do get input from people of the valley, you'll include me and let me know and see what we can do.
Okay, makes sense. Anything else from anyone?
Not me.
I'm good.
So I think we'll just say goodbye. Can I have a motion to adjourn?
Nothing
I'll make
else?
the
We're
motion.
good? We're
I'll
adjourned?
make the
Okay.
motion to adjourn.
Okay, second.
I'll second. This is Rich.
All in favor, Margaret, aye.
Rich, aye.
Mike, thanks,
All
folks.
right. See ya.
Thanks,
I'll call
everybody.
you, Mike. I'll call you,
Bye.
Mark.